is Shohei Ohtani to the Dodgers inevitable at this point? Of course, you cover the Mets for The Athletic, and knowing that they are sort of hitting that reset button, new leadership, of course, with David Stearns now heading up baseball operations, there are some questions as to whether or not the Mets would go out and make a big splash in free agency this year, knowing that their window is a little bit more of like 2025 and beyond. So what do you think about Ohtani and the realistic possibility that he goes somewhere other than the Dodgers?
Well, I'll address the Mets portion of that first. And I understand like the sentiment of maybe the Mets not necessarily punting on, say, 2024, but maybe taking a little bit of a step back. And I'm not sure if I could push back on that really much, because it may turn out that their salary and payroll is going to be not far much lower than what it was, but just lower, right, than the highest marks in baseball history. Mm-hmm. But I think with Ohtani and Yamamoto, who I'm sure we'll talk about next, exceptions can be made, right? So those two jump out to me as like, hey, that's probably the exception here to whatever it is that their plan will be for the rest of the offseason. That said, Ohtani, as we know, has left no clues whatsoever on what he will do or what he plans to do, what he likes to do, anything like that, right? So we're here just guessing and grasping at straws and going back to his last free agency, which feels like so much long ago that it's like, you know, what do you even take from that? But yeah, I don't know if the Dodgers inevitable is strong, but it sure seems like that, right? It sure seems like that's the appropriate way to frame the question, because throughout all last year around this time, all we heard was the Dodgers resetting their payroll and just trying to frame their whole offseason, it felt like, to be in position to strike on this. And how can you blame them? And I feel like even though he will not be pitching, he's still the best player in baseball, right? And the bonus is that he could also play a different position at some point, if that's left field, perhaps. I don't know. I've asked some other people in baseball, and they seem to think so. You know, executives around the league, they say, why not? I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. That's what people forget sometimes in the calculus of looking at his player profile. So yeah, inevitable is strong, but if you're picking a team, it's the Dodgers. I don't know if I would put my money on anybody else.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's where I've been the entire time, going back into the early parts of the 2023 season for the reasons that you mentioned, right? The Dodgers were kind of setting themselves up seemingly to make this massive splash, because we know the financial commitment to Ohtani will probably be the biggest deal we've ever seen in Major League Baseball, and for good reason, given what he brings to the table. And I love the point about the possibility, if we reach a point in a 10, 12, 14-year deal, whatever it is that Ohtani gets, where he can't pitch anymore, a position is absolutely possible, be that a corner outfield spot, first base, whatever. So some of he's only a DH when he's not pitching, that goes away if pitching somehow gets kind of pushed off to the side at some point.